John, I see you're not coming today. It's a recorded video, so I'm just going to go over some basics, and I copied a couple of Christmas tunes that we can kind of look at and dig apart a little bit at a time, whatever you're feeling up to. But we're going to start first of all, just a review, and you already know all this, so it should be old hat to you by now. The neck and the mouthpiece, how to assemble the reed correctly. So first things first, you make sure you have cork grease on your cork, which I do, so we're not going to go over that part. I'm just going to get the mouthpiece on there. Notice how I just kind of wiggle, twist to get on. I never cram it on. It's important, of course, to see some of the cork showing, that it should be visible. If you have it pushed all the way in, you can't see the cork, you just see the metal. That's too much pushed in. It means you're doing something wonky here with your mouth, which we don't want. That's definitely, you should see some cork. This is probably about where most people are. It could be out a little further in slightly more, but that's your spot for most people. Ligature, depending on what style you have, it either goes on this way or the other way with the screw on the top or the bottom. No matter which way it goes, it should be, if you're looking at it, on the right side with your right hand, screwing, unscrewing, doing all the work. So that's the way that has to be no matter what. This is called an inverted ligature. So when I put mine on, see, I can give you an overall view at the 360 of it. It looks like this. For my view, from I'm looking, it's going to look like that. Looks like that. Or like when I'm putting the reed on, I'm looking at it looking like that. Next part's the reed. We're going to be silent during this part. Remember that the reeds may come in a box. Okay, so I broke down and bought some inexpensive reeds. These are decent reeds, by the way. I'm going to show them to you. If you're wanting to look at something to buy some reeds that don't cost an arm and a leg, Ricos, they tend to be fairly consistent. They are a lower quality reed compared to the Van Doren reeds, which are like the Cadillac of reeds. These would be the Chevrolet of reeds. They're still pretty good. They'll get you there. They make a consistent sound, but they don't cost quite as much. So I'm going with Rico right now. I'm on a retired person's budget. So it comes in a box of 10, which is nice. Remember, it comes in these little plastic things. These are kind of like, you know, the packaging to the cookies. So this is not necessarily at all something you want to store your reed in. It just is in it when you first get a brand new one. Once you're done with the reed, what the best thing for you to store it in is a reed guard like this. So when I'm done with this reed, I'll put it in with these. See, this has 2 spots in the front and 2 spots in the back. See, I have a spot there where I can put another one. So here's the silent part. I'm not slobbering on it, it's just in my mouth. On top of my tongue, we'll do both sides. I used to think that wasn't important, but I've been told by saxophone players that play just the saxophone as their main instrument that, yeah, you should soak both sides. So that's what I do. Now, here comes the hard part. It should be like this when you start assembling. Notice what I just did. Let me do that again. The ligature was on but loose. I have not screwed it down yet. I'm slipping it in not like this, but like this from the top. Then I pull down, and I'll go through this stuff so quick now. I'll make sure I show you. So, see, I pull down, and then I'm holding it, the bottom of it, kind of balance, hold it with my thumb. I may have to wiggle it around some more too, and then I pull this down. Then from there, look how far I've got pulled down. So, there's where the line is right there. Can you see it? I hope you can see. Yeah, you can. So that's below the line. Whatever your ligature is, make sure it's below the line on your mouthpiece. Then I pull it down. Okay, that looks fairly straight. I'm going to show you. That's what it should look like. So now I'm going to tighten it just finger tight. I'm not going to crank it down, which I've never seen you do that. I think you got that part down pretty good, but it's good to review the procedure. So see, it looks like that from my end. that from the side view, like that. Guess you can kind of see that in the video. So it should look like that. Now, to play it. So, let's get the piano going. This playing stuff's the hard part. We got it together, right? So when you play, my sucker's loud. Somebody was having a blast. Remember, we're going to pretend like putting on chapstick. Why? So that you'll roll just a little bit and smooth that bottom lip out. So see, don't like this. You wouldn't put chapstick on. That, because I want that when we set up. Remember your teeth though, and you put the chapstick on your top row of teeth will make contact with the mouthpiece. You won't do like this. This top row does touch. This does not. Here. Here. And then lips around. Not tight. Just make sure this is flat. So it's hard to see it. I'll return. Look very carefully at the corners. You can still see some of the pink chapstick. Here. Here. Miss Beth, I can't get that sound. It could be. You have too much mouthpiece in. If you put in too much, you get this sound. That's not the sound we want, right? Too much, that's extreme, isn't it? Or not enough. If you're at the tip, nothing really. You know? And why is that? Because when you're at the tip, you're basically, when you start, you're shutting it off. If you're here, you're too much in, which I went extreme to know. You're past the point of where it makes the sound. This reed spot is kind of, if you look at it, it's kind of like about here. I'll show you. I can find a piece of paper. Okay, here's the music. We'll use this. So, if you were to put a piece of paper between your mouthpiece and the reed, where it stops, that's where you want your mouth to be, basically. Right there. That's the sweet spot. Right there. And then the part from the paper up to the end of the reed is where we're going to make the most of the sound. Kind of an interesting concept, isn't it? But that's how that sets up. And we go from there. All right. So, it's easier to talk about than to do it. But maybe you seeing this video where you can pause it and go back, you can see some of the things I did with my mouth, chapstick, the paper trick, which is a good trick. You know, it takes a lot of time sometimes. I can't get it to go there. It takes a lot of time sometimes to explain these things. And getting consistent on the sound of your instrument is an ongoing process as you're starting to learn how to play a wind instrument and a woodwind instrument. So, good job with it. Hope these visual cues that I gave you are helpful. Now, we're going to go through disassembly real quick. Now that I went through that, I unscrew. But notice, I did not take it off. Because if you take it off, you'll lose it like that kid I had in band who lost every part of his saxophone the first year in school. It was all over the place. So, you don't take it out. It's hard to get it back in, first of all. Then move it up with your thumb till you can grab the reed without touching the very end. Because it's so thin on the end, you know, you can break it. So, you get it up. Dry it off between your fingertips like so. Get your reed guard, slip it in the reed guard, but remember, don't shove it all the way in. Like that. Like that. Okay, from there, what you should do at that point is clean this part. Because the body you're going to clean last. Take this off, you don't have to clean that. But your mouthpiece, your neck, you want to run your cleaner through it. Just put it in. It doesn't matter which end. It's whatever end you want. I'm going to go in this way right now. And pull it through like that. And that dries it off pretty well. You want to do the same thing with the neck of the instrument right here. And again, it doesn't really matter which end you go in. I usually go on the small end just because that way I know it's going to make it to the big end. And I'll go like that and just pull it through like that. Sometimes I'll do it twice if I played a lot, just to make sure I didn't miss anything. Just feed that through till you get it to the other side. Pull it through. All right, happy practicing. Hope to see you next time.